What's up, guys? Time to show off another build. This is another Kraken 2.1. We did this one with a Sunburst baby blue sterile dial that we added the logo to. Did this one a little bit different. You haven't seen a 170 brushed case in a minute. It's because the donor watch is a lot more expensive. So 170 brushed case. Did a polished, the more aggressive shark tooth bezel with a baby blue and silver insert. Did a set of silver Vostok 24 hands. Milled solid caseback, Kraken engraved, as well as the crown. And then this is on a super soft Italian suede leather, the baby blue inlay and stitching. Preview buckle with the Kraken engrave logo on there as well. And you can spin that around or show it. I kind of like when I see that stitch, so I often do them like that, but because it's, you know, it's that little pop of color. But I guess you can flip it to whatever direction you like. But that is the build. Bezel on this will turn left, it'll turn right. This is a tension ring bezel. These are not click style bezels. Automatic mechanical, you've got a rotor in the back, so as you are moving around, it is winding. So, perfect example. I've got another watch sitting right here. You've got a rotor in the back, and as you're moving, it is staying. So it's putting wind on that, right? So it's putting wind into here as you're moving. So you've got that. You just can't see it on yours. But if you're not going to be very active, or you're just picking it up to throw it on, make sure you wind it just a little bit, because if you just set the time and then hope for the best, if you are not moving around enough, the watch is going to keep pausing on you. So you're going to back the crown off the threads until you hear it and feel it clicking. And at that point you can wind. You'll know that you're off the crown too, because you'll feel a little bit of play there, and you'll hear the wind. At that point you can wind. I guess you'll hear the click, you won't really hear the wind. As you go clockwise, you are winding it. Going this way does not wind it, but it is a lot easier to keep your finger spacing from the case and go back and forth. If you do that for 4 or 5 seconds before you put it on, that mixed with the rotor movement will keep your time throughout the day. But if you know you're going to be driving, sitting, you can always just max out the 31-hour power reserve on it by winding it a little bit longer. You cannot overwind it, so don't worry about that. You have a slipping mainspring, so when you put too much to it, or when it's fully wound, it's just deflecting and not putting that to it. And when you're happy with your wind, you're going to pull it to the 1 and only click, and you can now set your time. It does not have a hacking movement, so it's going to keep ticking there. You'll also notice you've got a wobble crown. This deflects lateral pressure from going into the stem and into the movement, so when you're pushing and prying on it, you're not putting any adverse pressures on anything. Okay, Google, what time is it? It's 1:21 p.m. And another real cool thing you might notice, I might as well just tell you, because you wouldn't probably know otherwise. This hand is a little different than that hand, though this is a set. I found that with these dials, all these stick out the same length except for that one, which is a little too long. So I cut the tip off and ground it and repolished that hand so that it clears that. Because as I was spinning it, it stopped here and this hand kept going, and I was like, now I have to reset the hands, which is not fun to do on a Sunburst dial. So snip that off, and I'll just have to remember that going forward if I ever want to use these hands again, that I got to cut that off and then cut and polish it. So the tip's gone. I want to make sure that I would clear it. And It's a good distance. I mean, you can tell how much, if you compare that one to that one, you can tell how much I took off. So, fun times. But just a little cool extra modification to make it work. Okay, Google, what time is it? Okay, Google, what time is it?
1:23 p.m.
So the one in my bedroom that's down the hall always hears everything that I say. The one that's in the same room with me is always just spacing. Pretty annoying. Anyway, every build comes with matching beads. We got some really cool ones in there. These like, when I say matching, they're not exactly matching, but they're as close as we can get with that colorway. And then throw a little bit of pop of color in there with it. This is going to come in a Kraken slider torched box. I got to pick one up today, so I'm using one from another build that hasn't sold yet. But it will look the same, I promise. So, it's going to come with watch cleaner. This is good on all glass and metal, so everything here in the center. Non-streaking, non-toxic, non-residue, as well as a microfiber. It's going to come with leather conditioner to keep that suede perfectly soft. If you ever feel it's not, apply it on the front, and specifically the back, because that's what's against your wrist. Let it soak in, remove any excess. Use a rag or something. Do not use one of your microfibers. You don't want it to dry on there, and then you start rubbing that on your watch or on the glass, because you can scratch that acrylic, that domed acrylic. But if you do, you'll put a tiny bit of this on it. Fine scratch remover. This is Novus 2 from Amazon. Just repackaged into these smaller things. It's like Polywatch. And if you scratch it, you'll put a tiny bit of this on it, and you'll buff it out using your collar matching microfiber. The scratches up and down just go left and right, hazing that scratch. God, man, there was something. There's a hair driving me freaking nuts. So the scratches up and down go left and right, haze it, buff it out. If it's still there, wait just a little bit, make sure it's gone. If it's not, wait a little bit and just revisit it. You're building that back up, so you want that to kind of solidify. But that's it. That is the build. So, speaking of Novus 2, I've never really shown anybody this, but I also use Novus 1 whenever I'm like cleaning up the watches. So like with that acrylic, obviously it is kind of has a little bit of static electricity associated with it, so it wants to pull stuff onto it. So I always hit them with canned air, but sometimes you can keep hitting it and it just moves, especially on the inside of the glass. So I use Novus 1, wipe them out real good, make sure it's dry, and then hit them with the canned air. And a lot of times what that does is it's kind of like a bit of a repellent, so works well. So I actually like the Novus 1 and Novus 2 stuff, and that's why I give out the Novus 2. So, but that's the build. If it's going to you, congrats. I hope you love it. This is an awesome put together build, and that's it. If you want me to do something custom and unique, reach out and I'll see what I can do. And if you want to continue to see videos like this, like and subscribe, as I put them up all the time. Thanks, guys.